Today we have Bruce Weeks, Crack Liz. It's just not a podcast, it's a lifestyle with Brother Umar. So go ahead, introduce yourself.
First and foremost, I want to thank these good brothers for having me on. It's a privilege and honor to be here tonight. As those of you may not know, my name is Bruce Weeks, Councilman at Large, City of Atlantic City.
Okay. And we just gonna jump right into it, man. You know, tell us a little bit about your political career.
So, I started out in politics about 6-7 years ago. I actually got straight involved as soon as I moved back to the area. I guess if we take a little further step back, I was born and raised in Atlantic City. Went to Atlantic City High School. I went to Howard University. Graduated from the high in 2004. Went to Howard, graduated in 2008, where I majored in finance. And as soon as I graduated, I did two things. I started my career on Wall Street. The funny thing about that is when I got to Howard, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I didn't have a major, none of that. But then, you start networking, seeing other people on campus, and I saw the School of Business and it intrigued me. I was like, that's where I need to be. So I applied to the School of B. My sophomore year, I got in. And I picked marketing because that's kind of like where my interest was. Until one day, I'll never forget, there was like this career day where they brought alumni back in. And this dude came in dressed to the nines. He was a young dude. Like, yo, I work on Wall Street. I work for Goldman Sachs. I make such and such. I love my job. I love what I do. And like, I just moved to Miami. I work for them out there. I'm like, yo, that's what I need to be doing. So I immediately switched to finance. And like, it just opened up so many things for me. Like, I started to just see the world differently. Like, oh, there's this whole other world out there I had no clue about. Because, from Atlantic City, when I got to college, like, I was at, with people from all over the world.
Right.
And like the elite of the elite,
Right.
from Chicago, New York, California. And they had this stuff together. And I was like, yo, I need to get my stuff together. I thought I was tight, but I was like, I'm not tight.
Right.
So they kind of, was showing me the ropes and just networking and just being open-minded. I didn't even know what Wall Street was until I got into the School of Business. And they was like, yo, there's all these firms out there that come and recruit here. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. I'm like, what is that?
Right.
So, just talking to professors, they're like, yo, this is the lane you want to be on. And, I grew up in a household with a judge. My father is a judge, as everybody knows. My mom's a nurse. Everybody thought I was going to be a lawyer or something like that. But it just wasn't really what I wanted to do.
How was it being around your dad, knowing he was a judge, making decisions on people's lives? How was that?
So to be honest, like, I understood what he did, and like, cause everywhere we go, Atlantic City small, hey, Judge Weeks, good looking out, cut him loose, Bruce. And the thing about him that I always appreciated is you would have never known if you saw him outside of work that he was a judge.
Right.
He wore like the same jeans every day. He smoked his cigarette. He bought his pack from Cedar Market every day. Played the lotto. He drove a very humble car.
He was
the lottery. He actually hit a couple times.
I've seen the newspaper.
He hit a couple times. But he played every day.
Yeah.
But I always admired how he moved, and he was real humble, real about the people. So for me, it wasn't like my dad was flashy and I was embarrassed. And he was a lot older than me too.
Was he a lawyer before he became a judge?
Yeah, he was a lawyer. He was a public defender.
Okay.
And then he became a judge.
Got it.
If I'm correct, he was like the first
He
African
was
American.
the first full-time public defender in New Jersey.
Right. Okay.
Black?
Yeah, first full-time black, and the first full-time
public
chief municipal judge in the state.
Right. Wow. That's crazy.
history.
So let me get back to the Howard stuff,
Okay.
because that leads into politics and all that. So I moved to New York. I got a job offer to be an analyst for like this financial tech startup company, and it was a culture shock. Growing up in Atlantic City, going to an all-black school, and then going to a company where you're one of the only black people.
Right.
I had to switch up like my demeanor, and I was professional, but I had to switch up completely.
Right.
And in the real world, you can't get nothing wrong. So you can get an 80 on the test and it'd be all right, 92. You mess up one little thing on something, everything can blow up in finance.
Right.
So I had to really just like, attention to detail was huge for me, and just, having mentors and, you know, paying attention to supervisors and bosses. And in Wall Street, you work a lot of hours. So like they work you into the ground, but it's good because you learn a lot.
Right.
So I did that for, I want to say 5 years. Got promoted a few times, got a few licenses to trade bonds and all that. So it's crazy because it got to the point where I never forget, like my last year, my boss pulled me in on like December 31st. He's like, yo, we gonna give you a bonus. And I'm like, well, how much? We're going over the numbers. He's like 100K. That's all right with you? And I was already making a decent salary. I'm like, yeah. But it made me think, like, and I was a low-level guy on the team.
Right.
I'm
so
like, I wonder what.
Imagine what the other guys.
So it's motivation, like, yo, like, I'm going to stick with this.
Right.
Long story short, I ended up going to Merrill Lynch. Like a year or two later, I became a financial advisor in New York. And then my father became really ill. And I had always had this guilt in me, like, yo, like, you out here living your life. Like, I was always traveling, going to industry conferences in Vegas, Miami. I was living a decent life that I had built for myself, really, from the ground up. So I ended up moving back home in 2016, thinking, okay, I'm going to find a job. It's going to be easy. I don't know if y'all know Talib Dean Muhammad.
Yeah.
He would always tell me, like, yo, whenever you ready to come home, I got you, help you get a job. I'm like, you know, kept that in the background. Like, maybe one day I'll move back. I'm thinking I'm gonna come back and find a job easy. It was tough.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, yeah, New York, there's so much going on.
Background you had?
That's what I thought. And it was tough. No one wanted to hire me.
Wow.
So
And
I
you
did
had all that financial behind you?
It's crazy. Instead of working in the casino.
On the casino life, they didn't want to deal with
They
you?
put out, my first job back was in the casino cage as a cashier.
Wow. With all the credentials.
With all the credentials. It's crazy.
So that's the best we have to offer is the casino, huh?
I mean, that's the industry.
Yeah.
In the government, you got a network to get in the government.
Yeah.
Right? So basically, long story short, I came home and I started going to council meetings, town hall meetings.
Right.
And you know me, I speak my mind on Facebook.
Trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, so I was seeing what was going on at the meetings and then going home and being like, just giving my take. And people was like, yo, like, you sound like you know what you're talking about, like, you on top of it.
Right.
And I remember one time I said something about a decision they made, and then immediately I got a phone call from somebody that was on council. I'm not gonna say who he is, but he wasn't too happy with what I was saying though on Facebook. But anyway, I ended up getting involved. Prior to that, I did the Lead Atlantic City Tomorrow Fellowship Program, which is like a leadership development into politics and government. Did that for 10 months.
Was that paid or volunteer?
Nah, it's volunteer. It's only one time a month for 10 months. It's like almost like a educational thing.
Right.
You have like a different lesson plan each month.
Right.
So I got into politics in 2017. Mayor Small, he was on council at the time. He had reached out to me and said, you know, let's meet up. I want to talk to you about some things. And when we met, he was like, yo, would you consider running for city council? And to be honest, I was like skeptic, like I had a lot of skepticism about him. So I was like, although I do want to do politics, I was like, I'm not sure if I want to run with him.
Right.
So we was kind of getting to still know each other because we had kind of just met like a year before that. So as I got to get to know him, I kind of felt comfortable with like his plan, felt like he was in it for the right reasons. So I was like, all right, you know, I'll consider it. He reached out a second time. I told him I was still considering. At that time, this is when he was about to run against Frank Gilliam. And that was a very heated contest. And Frank had reached out to me. He had reached out to several millennials. We had like a round table. And I told him, like, yo, I'm about to go meet with him, see what he's talking about. Because I didn't know him. He's like, yeah, go meet with him and, you know, let me know. You know, I respect your decision either way. Now, Frank didn't want me to run with him. He just wanted to support, like, us to support him in that race. And just from that meeting, I would just felt like Marty had a better plan at the time that he articulated at least.
Right.
So he asked me again to run. So I finally was like, okay, let's do it. He already had a ticket with Derek Kayson and Lamont Fauntleroy. So it was us three on his council slate, and then Mayor Small is the mayor.
Right.
So from there, we just went full force.
Is this the one with Stephanie too?
No, Stephanie, that's on council now.
This is lady.
So Stephanie ran with us this past election.
Okay, that was lady, yeah.
So that's kind of like, that was like my intro to politics.
Right.
I went really hard my first campaign and did really well actually, because we were off the line meaning like Frank and his team were on the Democratic line and we were off of it. So it was hard. It was tougher for us to get votes.
More like independent.
In a sense,
Right.
But I still ended up getting the most votes out of all the council candidates at the polls. So I came in first place with all like the actual votes.
Right.
And me not really knowing how all this really tied together, I'm like, oh, I won. They're like, you ain't won. Like, look at the little number at the bottom. I'm like, what's that? They're like, those are absentee ballots. And Frank and them had like 700. We had like 200. And I only had like a 100 vote lead.
Right.
So then everybody leaped me.
Right.
I was devastated, like, hold on. I'm like, y'all moving back to New York.
Yeah. Who did you look up to when you was coming into the politic game? Like, what had your interest the most?
I think for me, it wasn't really a person that had my interest. It was more so the issues I wanted to help change.
Right.
So for me, because it's local, there wasn't anybody who I really was like, I want to be like that person.
Right.
Like, there were people I had respect for, like Mayor Langford,
Right.
you know, Charles Garrett, who was a freeholder at the time and ran for mayor. And I always had a respect for, you know, Marty, Speedy, Kaleem, just the fact that they put themselves out there and was willing to lead. I always had a certain respect for because it's not easy. But to be honest, there was no one person that I felt like I want to follow their footsteps. It was more like, these are the issues I see going on, and I think I can provide value to that. So I want to, you know, put my name out there for it.
Okay.
How would you consider current administration to be transparent?
To be honest, no. Not completely transparent. There are a lot of issues that, in my opinion, aren't being addressed, and they're being overlooked, and they're promoting certain things, but they're not really looking at the hard truths. And at some point, if we really gonna have change, like, we're gonna have to stop worrying about the headlines and start worrying about what's really going on Atlantic Avenue.
Right.
What about poverty? You know, like, poverty's only gotten worse since I moved back, and like, it's been worse for that. Like, progressively, it's been getting worse. So, at what point are we gonna address some of the poverty issues?
Yeah, that avenue was terrible.
It's awful. It gets worse every year.
And it's like, I ain't gonna say, but this particular person, bro, y'all can stop this, man. If it has something to do with money, just say it. If you don't know how to do it, just say it.
Mm-hmm.
Stop being in the forefront if you don't know what you're doing. I'm not saying no names.
So it's funny you said that, because this past council meeting last week, I didn't lose my cool, but it was one of them moments where they had the deputy police chief up there explaining why certain things aren't being addressed. And I'm like, at what point are we going to just say, this is what we need? We need more police in order to effectively deploy our
We
people.
don't even need more
I think
police.
we do, though, because like there's
Want me to tell you
no
why?
presence. There's no, like, they're so underpowered, they're so undermanned. It's just like, it's
Now,
it's
quote me if I'm
ridiculous.
right or wrong. It's over 300 some cops in this city, right?
Nah, it's a little less. It's a little less.
All right, even if it's 200.
2 something, yeah. But
You can't stop this stuff that's going on. That's 200 cops.
you have to think about all the transient folks that we get, all the tourists. Like, I know
Everything's just based on the tour district. That's
Tourism
it.
district.
That's how I feel about it. Everything
That's going to
is
get
just-
protected first, of course, because that's, like he said, industry. That's
Yeah.
casinos. That's our industry.
So,
And
but you have to
it's
start
just
somewhere,
crazy
though. So think
because-
about this, though. You don't see no cops walking the beat.
Nah.
You don't see them really in your community like
And when
that.
they had the class 2 up there, that's their peers. They up there talking to them while they sitting there trapping. That's their peers. They're young as hell. They not moving anybody. They out there standing with them. So I think the class 2s was for no reason.
Well, most of the class 2s on the boardwalk.
No, I'm telling you, when they
The ones
had them
that
out
are
on the avenue
Yeah.
at that particular time, that's their peers. Now I can see if they talk to them to get them to change their mind on what they're doing. But you're on this avenue with these people all day, every day. You can't be telling them to leave if you holding conversations with them. Not all of them, but majority of them, that's their peers. And it's like, I feel like this bail reform thing is garbage. Because I used to say to the young cats, can you see what they doing? They're allowing you to do this. They're gonna lock you up. You're gonna come right back because they can't keep you. They're gonna lock you up, bring you right back. Now, they're gonna get tired. And now you got 10 years under your jacket now. They letting all this shit build up for you. It's like, you're not understanding this shit. But I don't understand. The police chief is never ever available. You call him, you email him, no answers. He's supposed to be taking care of all the line, what you call it, the authority from the chief, the lieutenant, and all the way down.
The chain of command, yeah.
Right. So why this chief of police is not in the community letting people know? I don't even know who the chief of police is.
And see, that's an issue. That's
The last one I knew was
Chief White,
Mr.
the
White.
previous chief. Yeah.
Oh, it's not him anymore?
Nah, it's James
Oh,
Sarkos,
shit.
who was his deputy chief.
See,
See,
we
I
don't
ain't know
know
that.
that.
I ain't know
So what can you put together, or what can you do to talk to other people to bring a higher authority out and start putting a presence in the community? Or do they have to send out like the lieutenant, the sergeants, and all that?
No, I mean, so like a lot of people do know who he is, but to your point, he's not really in the communities, all of the communities that much. I do see certain lieutenants and captains out more than I do see him, but also, you know, being at the top, you can't always be everywhere.
Right.
So that's why you have your men and women that you deploy. I do think it's an issue that you don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Which I find surprising.
Yeah.
I thought he was well known.
Cause I used to
I heard of the last name,
Yeah.
but he could come walk past me, I wouldn't recognize him.
And the
Oh,
only
see,
way
that's
I
not
would
good.
know
Yeah,
who
that's
he
not
is
good.
if I read about him in the newspaper.
Yeah.
But I still don't know who he is. It's like even with, I have an issue with the councilman also.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know who the councilman is here.
Oh, see, so your councilman is M.D. Morshed. He actually lives on the other side of the 4th Ward.
But
So
what does he do for Venice Park?
I wouldn't be able to tell you what he does personally.
Or any other
yeah,
councilman.
yeah.
I'm not going to say just here.
Yeah.
But why aren't these people interacting with the community other than giving them some free rides on the boardwalk?
I was gonna say, so it's kind of a two-way street too, because he can't come just knocking on your door every day. So when he does have stuff, it's more about being aware of it.
Right.
Like when he goes to a Venice Park Civic Association meeting, and speaks, maybe you should go attend.
You know how many times they cut the mic off for me?
At those meetings?
The council meetings.
Oh, the
all
council
that
meetings,
stuff.
yeah.
I don't talk about it because I didn't want to get into that politic part about it. I used to voice my opinion all the time.
And you got tired of it because nothing was getting done, right?
Nothing.
See,
then
and
it's
that's
like,
the fatigue that starts to build in the people
Right.
that are vocal, and eventually you just fade away.
and the support that I have for certain situations, I don't feel like I'm appreciated.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to get into I keep saying I ain't going to get into it.
I mean, that's why
but
we're
I'm
talking
itching.
though. I mean,
I'm itching to get into it, but then what is your agenda for Atlantic City? Like, what would be your agenda if you had control to actually make something happen?
and I thought about that a lot coming into just office. Like my biggest thing is, as Atlantic City is invested into and people want to build here and create companies and jobs, that we ensure that our people are part of that process. I think that's what we haven't been
And
doing.
not just employees.
Not just employees. So
we need to be contract.
we need to be so
Yeah.
there's so many different layers to it, right? I'm talking about, for instance, if somebody wanted to come and build an energy company here, I want to have a CBA, which is a community benefits agreement, in place that is already being discussed with a community coalition of folks that are constantly meeting with them,
Right.
saying the things they want to see. So not just the jobs, but like the construction jobs on the front end. We want to see like all the ancillary contracts that come with the energy company. How can minorities be a part of those contracts? Because that's where the real wealth is.
Right.
When you look at DC, like the wealthiest black county in America is PG County, which is right outside of DC. Most of their wealth is generated from government contracts.
Right.
So that's another industry we fail to look at here, is that local government contract industry. The school board, the city of Atlantic
But
City.
where are these monies going?
So I'm getting there, right? So the school board, City of Atlantic City, and this is what nobody ever wants to talk about. The MUA, the Housing Authority. That's 4 entities right there
Right.
that have hundreds of millions of dollars of a budget, right? So just think about that pot of money. Think about all the contracts that get distributed throughout the year. We give out contracts 500,000, 100,000, 400,000 for small, like just simple services. But to me, it's all hidden in plain sight, meaning that it's out there in the public for public to bid on, but you don't know where to find that information.
Right.
You probably won't
Isn't
know.
everything public record?
It's public record, but it's not nowhere
Or it's
you would think
supposed
to look for it. And if you found it, you'd be like, I don't even know how to do this, because we haven't taught our people how to bid on certain stuff. We haven't taught them how to be to get bonded, to be certified, to be in this business, and that's what we should have been doing for decades. So that when these opportunities are being bid on, you can say, "Oh, I got a lawnmower service right here. I'm gonna just bid on this. I already got 3 lawnmowers, and I'm gonna cut grass and make 100K off this one contract." That is instant, uplift from poverty
Right.
off one contract
Right.
to cut grass. But it's not going to none of our people. It can be a snow removal contract for 50 G's. None of our people get those contracts. So when you think about just those 4 entities and all those hundreds of millions, how many of our people you think is inserted into that traffic of commerce? That's a lot of years and decades of missed millionaires we could have created.
So how?
100,000 there, all kind of stuff.
So how would somebody on the outside? How would somebody on the outside go about trying to find out where all this is? And if you can't find it, who do you go to ask where it's at?
That's another thing, right? So you can go to the websites and see all the requests for proposals, requests for bids, get the information sent to you. But then once you get it, you're probably thinking, well, what do I do with this? Like, how do I complete this? How do I get this certification? Like you said, there's no one place to go. And CRETA has never created nothing for us to have a center to go to.
I wanted to get into them.
Because I have an issue with that, because I don't want to say I called them out, but they passed a resolution last year to create a minority and women business center in Atlantic City, and they put aside 100,000 for it. They put it in the news and all that. They let it sit there for a year. I call into the meeting, what's going on with resolution XYZ, and they like, what's that? They're like, what's that resolution? They said, we'll get back to you next month. We have to look into that. So the next month I go back to the meeting on the call, and they got rid of the money. They collapsed the fund that the money was in and said, oh, this program is not going to work. And they just got rid of it. And remind you, the mayor's on that board. He didn't, so all that time he was there, he saw what they was trying to do, never questioned it, never tried to get the money in motion, none of that.
What is the CRDA's main purpose? Because since they've been in Atlantic City,
They've been taking over.
I haven't seen.
And I ain't even mentioned
no
them as an
results.
entity. Yeah, so they're technically supposed to, they were set up to get, I think it was they either had to pay 2.5% in taxes to the state, or they would get a discount and only pay 1.5%. But they take that 1.5% of their revenues and give it to CRETA, and then CRETA takes that money and reinvest it into the city for housing, for jobs. It's supposed to be economic development. However, if the people at the top are like, look all that money being made down there. When I appoint my person on that board, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make sure our people get these contracts. We're going to make sure we do certain things with it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, they've invested over $1 billion since like 1986. I looked it up. You walk around this city, do you see anything that resembles $1 billion anywhere?
Nope. The casinos.
Not even that.
not
Even
even
around their
that.
properties, it don't even be looking all that great. Maybe around
Not
Regatta.
even that, because you got people in the casinos that what's it called, EVS. They pay them pennies, and
I mean,
the only ones I see that's really working is I'm trying to think of a name instead of calling them really out their name, like
you see, listen, that's
the
what
immigrants that's just getting their
They call like
paperwork.
J1 or something. They kind of
Right.
Yeah.
So
They come from
they don't
overseas.
care how much they pay, as long as they got a
As long
job.
as they can room together and work that summer and get
Yeah.
their money, that's all they care about.
Right.
But I feel as though the casinos failed the city because you look at it now, right?
Yeah.
This is 2022. You got people that's just starting to make $20 an hour in the casino. Whereas though we should have been making that in the 90s, bro.
Yeah.
That's how we were supposed to come up. You know what I mean? We should have been making that in the
So
90s.
I really can't blame them because they're a for-profit business. And
yeah,
some of them
yeah.
is listed on the stock exchange. So like for them, they gonna do what they gotta do to
Right.
increase their bottom line. It's our leadership and it's the state leadership that failed us, the legislators that allowed them,
To do
that
what
didn't
they
hold
want.
them accountable.
Right.
So do anybody of Lang City have any say so what the casino industry is actually doing, or is it just state?
A lot of
And
it,
can
yeah.
we question the state?
If we all came together, we could. The
Yeah.
problem is if someone like me wants to speak out, they're gonna try to drown me out.
Cause you the only one.
Or he's just trying to start trouble. But really, I just really want to see what should be going on happening. Like I want it to get in motion. At some point, we got to start it. We can't just keep saying, "Oh, they failed us."
Right.
All right, we know they failed us, but how do we get them to do us right?
Right.
But we need more of us to come together and say we on the same page about this cause,
Right.
and we're gonna apply pressure on them,
Right.
or else. And we don't ever do that. Like the ball's always in our court, but we just, I guess, certain people get hookups here and there, get their
Oh, yeah,
person
if
a
you
job,
don't
so
need
they
a
keep
circle,
quiet.
ain't nothing happening.
Right? I mean, you got to call it for what it is. And unfortunately, too much of that has been going on for so many years that it's tough to, for any one person to make a change on that.
Mm-hmm.
What,
Wow.
what about this situation with the supermarket that we were supposed to do?
So,
I need to know.
So-
I seen them, not to cut you off, but I'm going to work one day. I see the little setup, the shovels in the dirt and stuff. So later on the news, I seen what actually took place. I said, okay,
I
that's
think
cool.
I came up with something. It's common sense, but I don't. You might know a little more about it. You ever notice going from Baltic Avenue to Baccarat, it's always a strange smell?
Yeah,
You know why, right?
no.
It's a lot of waste underneath where that parking lot is.
Yeah,
It's a lot of waste.
it smells like backed up sewer over there sometimes.
And through the grapevine, the company found out about it, and they backed out. I don't know if it's true, but I found they backed out because they asked the city to clean it. City said, that's not our job. You brought the land, that's your job.
Oh, wow.
I mean, so for what I know, there is some kind of environmental something underneath that.
Yeah.
I think that was known.
That was
Yeah, it's
it
been like
since
that
I
for
was a
years.
little
There's something
kid.
underneath there.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if
Because
it's
remember
raised
back
or-
in the day, before the convention center and all that, that used to be
It was
like
a
steel
cold-
beams and all that around
It was
there.
like a coal, I think a
Yeah,
coal
but
spot.
all the
Fuel.
waste of Atlantic City had to go through there to go out to the water.
So think about this. So ShopRite,
Mm-hmm.
they announced that it was going to open. They had a little ceremonial groundbreaking
Yeah.
right before an election.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we didn't hear nothing for 11 months. But we kind of heard things in between. A lot of people were already thinking that was a bad deal for Creta because they were going to spend $19 million to build it and then lease it to ShopRite for $1 a year.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how much they had to pay to get them to come here to make it
Hold
attractive.
up, hold up, hold up.
Yeah. So they
19 million.
were going to spend it, but they weren't. I really want to get some stuff done. And it's gonna make some of them people uncomfortable. The stuff I wanted to do.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying? But I need more people that's on board. Like, yo, like, we trying to get that done too. And really be about it though.
Right.
Not just like saying it to me and we get into the meeting. They're like, oh, well, you know, maybe next meeting.
Right.
And there's not a lot of that energy. We got so many people that have been in office so long. Who knows how many deals they done cut to stay in office and to stay, you get their family members hooked up.
But the thing is,
And-
all that stuff gonna come to light one day.
It comes to light, but then what happens?
Get swept under the
Get
rug.
swept right under the rug.
Hey,
You seen that? You know how it goes.
yeah, hey. But a lot of people I talk to, they think that you're gonna be running next time.
I haven't told anyone.
No,
I'm just saying, like, I
they
think,
would want
I
you to.
mean, they say that now, you know what I'm saying, but, you know, we'll see. Like I said, I
No,
wouldn't,
politician I know that
I
don't
would-
have a background.
What about
they don't have a background.
Yeah,
I don't.
far as bullshit. Yeah, I mean, I'm being honest with you.
what about the situation with Stanley Holmes Village? I heard a few months back from a few residents that they were supposed to move the people from the third village.
They were supposed to, so they're supposed to do it in phases where they building a Stanley Jr., which is on New Jersey, between New Jersey and Connecticut, right
Okay,
across from Lucy's, that
Lucy's.
big lot.
Right, right, right.
So that was the plan, build a, you know,
What was it
houses.
gonna be like trailers?
Nah, it's supposed to be housing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like housing, like a medical. They was calling like a medical facility there too.
Okay.
I think it was either Atlantic Care or somebody.
They've been talking about this for like 20, 30 years.
I don't know about that. How it's been that long, but
They
they've been talking
been-
about Stanley, but not this plan. It was a
Oh
legit
no, not
plan.
the housing
Yeah.
thing about sending everybody away, breaking down Stanley
And
and
rebuilding
redoing
it.
it.
So
Yeah,
it's supposed
it was
to.
on the table before.
Yeah.
So the same company that's redoing Bugsby is supposed to redo Stanley, and as they
They
do,
want to tear Busby down?
no, they just
They
rehab
already
it.
remodeled
They
it.
remodeled it, and there's a whole lot of issues with that too. I had somebody set up
Oh,
a
they
meeting.
doing the porches or something. That's all I see.
I seen.
Listen,
Yeah.
no, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like, so a resident reached out to me, was very vocal.
Right.
At Busby, like, yo, can you reach out to Michael's group, who's doing all the work, because we can't
Right.
seem to get a meeting with him. So I got him a meeting, and they was in there going off on him. It was ugly,
Wow.
Man,
and they got their voices heard about, because they were saying the job wasn't getting done right. Y'all told us it was gonna be this way, and y'all did it this way. It don't make no sense. I want my old apartment back. It was bad. So with Stanley though, they're supposed to rebuild every village, like completely rebuild them,
right.
but in phases. And why they move certain people out, moving in Stanley Jr. into their new phase is done. That's gonna take a lot of time.
That's
though.
gonna take a lot of
Cause
time.
that's an old.
Yeah.
I grew up in there. My mom grew up in the village. Like, my mom.
It's about time.
That's when it was nice,
Yeah,
man.
of course.
But it's about time that we do Stanley.
So,
Yeah.
all right, with the, and I just keep saying I don't want to get into this politic thing.
Talk, man.
What about the low income thing? How come the city is allowing this no income thing? You could be working and then quit your job. I can see if you get fired, but you quit your job, then now your rent zero.
See, that's a federal thing. That's a housing. That's a
What's
it's a
that?
HUD thing.
But,
A federal
but
HUD
what
thing.
my point is, how come they can't put these people on programs to be able to do work like classroom work or whatever like that and go up the ladder?
You don't know
Where's
why?
the-
You don't
they
know-
see
you
the
don't-
job?
You don't know why? That's all systemically designed that way from the national level.
But we can't
To
stop
keep
it
us
here.
boxed in and
Yeah.
unmotivated to, if I don't have to work, that's been going on. That's by design to keep us shackled. And I'm gonna talk honestly, like that's not even a local issue. That's
Yeah.
they designed that way back when legislators,
Yeah.
like in federal legislators,
That's crazy, man.
and people
Like,
take the bait and they say, "Well, I'm living. I don't gotta pay nothing for anything. I get food stamps. Why would I get a
But
job?
why is no?
Why would I better my quality of life? You know what I'm saying? If I don't have to." And they become unmotivated. Unfortunately, people become unmotivated and stuck. When it should be like how you saying, it should be temporary until you get a better job,
Right.
you move out, you buy a house or rent an apartment. That's supposed to be how it works.
Yeah.
But
Then it's like, I went up there one time, a couple years ago, to apply for food stamp. I didn't need it. I just want to see how, the lady in there, everybody know, I ain't gonna say her name. She said, you don't look like you need it. I said, damn. So you mean tell me I just filled all this paperwork out for no reason? If I didn't need it, I wouldn't even took the time.
well, was she saying that based off of what you submitted, or just like she was saying you don't
Because
look like?
she knows me.
Oh, okay.
She said, I look like I don't need it.
But I mean, you might have been on hard times. And
But
maybe
she
some
wouldn't have
temporary-
known that if she would allow it to go through, she'd have probably known that. But as soon as I gave her my paperwork, she said, you don't look like you need help.
Wow.
I'm like, oh shit. So I gotta roll around in the dirt, look like a fiend in order to get this stuff. And then they giving the fiends everything. Then they come sell it to people.
So it's
And I'm like, damn, I can't buy no food stamps from nobody because I feel like I'm taking away from somebody's kid or something. But it don't always be that, but that's in my mind not to buy it. And I'm very sure they know these people really ain't using this stuff. Like, I don't agree with the needle exchange. If this guy take 2 needles, he can be able to get 3. You promoting drug activity.
That right
But they're
there.
promoting
I would
safe.
never agree to that, and I would
But
never
it's,
like
it's
that.
also like keeping guys from sharing needles and spreading
Wow.
diseases.
spread
too.
diseases. Supposed
But
to
the
disease
thing
control.
is, they're also promoting the drug activity.
It's both, right? It's both, right? It's,
It's a
like if y'all
different
gonna do it, at least do it safely. Basically, is what they're saying.
But if they can't get it, how they gonna get it?
They gonna start robbing and stealing.
If they can't get needles,
They gonna rob and
Yeah.
steal,
I
bro.
mean, if they can get the drugs, they can get the needles, right? They
Nah,
been
what I'm
getting them
saying
before
is,
they.
I really, in my heart, I really feel like they're promoting the drug activity. Because you're
That's-
giving
yeah.
the people,
You're enabling them, yeah.
yeah. So where's the help at?
Well, you know, we actually are being sued by the needle exchange people for trying to shut it down. When council tried to shut them down last year.
Oh yeah,
So that's
I
in
remember that.
litigation. That's in litigation.
They moved it to Pleasantville, I believe.
They were
right?
trying to.
Oh,
They
it's
were
still
trying
in
to.
the city.
It's still there.
Okay.
Wow. Damn.
They got it shut down for like a week though.
Yeah, damn.
I mean, I agree with that. It should be like in a not the urban area because you actually got some of these dudes that'll come change their needles. They'll go cop their drugs, and then you see them on the avenue all slumped over
Well,
somewhere.
they're just sitting
you know
right
what
out
I
there
mean?
waiting for them to come out.
Right, right.
You know, now let me go away from that. Now, I have another big issue with the policing. They seen these kids out there 11, 12 at night. You know, they started the horn again. Now that don't even go off no more. And police is riding past 8, 9-year-old kid walking down the avenue 11, 12 at night. How can we stop that? Or is that a police issue?
I mean,
That's
so they
not
can.
at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. So they
Counseling.
they can enforce. You know what I'm saying, the curfew.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, families should be accountable for their
Yeah.
kids being out the house. Now, a cop can bring them home or take them to the station, but the kids still may come out the next night, right?
Well,
so
they charge these parents enough time. Not nothing.
but then you
hide.
take it, but then you might be taking the parent out the home. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That might be if you're charging the parent, let's just say they get charged and get put away for a month or whatever.
No, not charge where as though they go to jail. Give them a ticket.
Like a fine.
Yeah,
But
give
what if
them
they
a
can't pay the
ticket.
fine?
They gonna end up in jail.
Damn.
Cycle.
So they say the hell with it, right?
I mean, it may sound
Something has
Yeah.
to happen, man, because I would say something like, yo, why you out here? I might get mind your business over here, this, that, and other, but I'm like, damn, who's your parents, man? Do you need a ride home? Like, man, yo, mind your business. I'm like, damn. But,
Me personally, this is just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think these cops is scared to approach a lot of these young kids, man.
Yeah. But what's the training for?
I
That
mean,
goes out the door
lot of
after they
them-
pass the
you gotta look at it.
academy.
A lot of these guys probably want a good career, good benefits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You probably got 10 cops, maybe 3 of them is like the cop that you're talking about. The
Yeah.
other 7, they just probably there for the benefits, the good pay. You know what I
But then you
mean?
gotta consider they gotta have a reason to stop somebody.
That
Like, you
too.
gotta have.
If you 9 years old, it ain't no.
Well, yeah, that's reason. That's
Yeah.
reason, but it's not always 9. We know it's not always 9-year-olds out there.
Nah, but I mean
Right.
it's different. Even the young teenagers. Why are you out there 3-4 in the morning? I mean, we might know why they out there. That's why the police should pull them, check them, see what's going on, talk to them. Cause 9 times out of 10, if you out there 2-3 in the morning, it ain't for nothing good.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's never for nothing good.
Yeah.
That late.
Especially if you're not at a bus station or train station.
$26 million to build it, and then an extra $1 million a year just to have a shop right.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
You're gonna always ask everybody, and I don't get no answers, no right answers. We look at Ventnor, Margate, Lawbrook. Ain't nobody homeless out there.
I see like 1 or 2 homeless people in Ventnor.
That's probably just before Atlantic City.
But see, you know what else?
But what
They
I'm trying to
send
say
it- a
is,
lot of places send their
They
homeless.
send them here.
but
to
why
Atlantic
can't the
City.
administration stop that?
They just talk about it. Oh, it's a Greyhound therapy problem. Y'all been saying that for years. When y'all gonna do something about? So my thing is this, right? We know that we have an issue with people sending people our way, but we have the stuff for them. Like first of all, we shouldn't have a big homeless shelter if that's what's attracting people.
Right.
We shouldn't have a needle exchange if that's what's attracting people. I think we need to have some kind of cost share agreement with all the other communities.
Yeah.
Find somewhere out in Millville, somewhere out there in Vineland, build something, and everybody put in for it. And then we have one place where we can send people that having trouble to get them, get them the rehab they
I
need.
agree with that.
But
That way
it's,
not
it's
in
not,
nobody's
it's
way.
not, it's not just the rehabilitation of narcotics or whatever they're doing. It's homeless people that don't even get high.
Right, but they still
wanna,
they need a
like,
place to go. I can't go to no corner store, no gas station without being panhandled.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But they
Like
have
literally,
law.
it's 3 people outside that
Yeah.
that gas station at the walk lined up asking me for yo, bro, let me get.
Opening the door for
I'm
you.
like, I ain't need to do that, but thanks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I come out here, you got some change. Half the time I'm like, yo, I ain't got no cash on me. Even though I
Yeah.
might. The other half I might be in a good mood, like I ain't go.
And you know the
but
main issue that I have with Atlantic City is the school system right there by the Renaissance.
the nursery
You have all them drunks and fiends and everything.
lined up having a
And
party.
people trying to go put their kids in daycare. Shouldn't that block be
So
cleared
without
out?
saying too
That
much,
block should
I
be
work.
cleared.
I work right there, basically. And when I come down that street,
Yeah.
I see the same folks lined up, drunk.
Yeah.
And then I drive a couple feet further.
It looks
and
like
it's a
kids.
nursery. There's school buses letting kids off.
Yeah.
And there's no boundary between the liquor store and people hanging out in that block and the school. And to
So-
me, that's troubling.
Yeah. And you know how they have the school security? They don't have school security over there.
They never
And if
did.
they do, you don't see them.
Nah, they never did.
They need to have security over there. A class 2, put them right there.
We need to have a
Or-
cop right there walking the beat, an actual cop. You know what they want to do now? They want to put police civilian aides on Atlantic Avenue.
I
Civilian
saw that. I saw something
What
about
is
that
a
in the paper.
civilian
A
aid?
civilian aide would just be a regular person
Be able to give people tickets.
with a
though, right?
whistle and a flashlight, and they can say they.
But you put
and they
them
gonna-
in jeopardy.
so think about this. Let's just say my little cousin is a civilian aide, 18, just want a job.
Right.
He out there, yo, move it along. They out there doing what they do, hustling, whatever. They're not gonna listen to him.
No.
And if he called the cops on him, what's gonna happen to him when he clock out?
Right.
And he got to go to see the market.
No, what's going to happen to him right then and there?
It could happen right then and there. And
Yeah.
to me, that's a shortcut that sounds good. Oh, we being innovative, getting these civilian aides. I'm like, yo, that's just budget for more police. somebody that can actually go out there and do something. Why y'all want to take these shortcuts?
So what's the training for? To be a cop, to protect and serve. They under oath.
We need more of them.
They definitely do.
I think we need more younger cops.
We need our own homegrown, like, they live here.
Yeah.
Even
But
if they
didn't they do a couple years ago, didn't they do bringing police from other counties or other states or something? Because people are so used to the people that grew up that they don't respect them.
I've heard people wanting.
They've done that
I've heard them
before.
wanting to bring in state police, which I don't really agree with. I would
Yeah.
rather someone have some kind of connection.
No, I'm talking about not the state police. They was bringing other, like
recruiting from.
other counties.
Like Candy County cops.
Yeah. Bringing them here because they don't know nobody and people can't ask for passes. Quote unquote.
I mean, that's good and bad. You also want people to understand, what's going on and have some empathy as well to work with folks. Everything can't just be knocking somebody upside the head.
Right.
Move it along, I'm gonna lock you up. There's a level of compassion you do want there from your police.
Right.
Especially nowadays with everything going on just nationally.
Right.
You gotta be real careful with that.
I mean, I look at it like other places got more issues than us, and some might not. But what can we actually do? Not the community, the people involved in the politics. What do you suggest if y'all do, and it will bring the crime level down as far as dealing with these young guys that's out here doing all kind of crazy stuff?
I think people need opportunities first and foremost. A young person has to see a future in something and know that they can achieve it. And we don't really have many of those pipelines established with the local corporations that are here. Like, we'll put you through this trade school, or we'll put you through this dealership school. You go be a dealer. Like, we have them, but everything is in silos. Nothing's really working together. There's just so many people competing with each other, bashing each other. But if we really just had just one facility that we use, and people knew if I go into this facility, I can go help find a job, help find a career path, I think that would help. You know what I'm saying?
So don't they have an electrician thing going on?
They had the trucking, they have a few
And
things.
so they do have the trucking school at Baderfield.
They started already?
They started. They have the Atlantic City Electric program.
Circle to get in.
Not really.
I don't think the trucking school. Them dudes, they don't. They straightforward. They're not with.
Yo, I like dude.
Yeah, Lorenzo
He's from here, right?
yeah, both of them.
And he was like homeless.
He was homeless for a little bit. He got an interesting story.
He now he got like what, 4 trucks?
Doing it, man. Doing big things.
Yeah. I mean, I understand when people say you might have to want it for yourself to be able to do it. I understand that. But where's the tools at? Who has the tools? In order for these young guys to figure out, I'm doing something wrong. Let me do this. Where's the tools at?
See,
Who has the tools?
a lot of these young guys, man, to me, I think they just need like somebody, not to hem them up, but to, come here, little bro. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them don't have no guidance, man. Like,
I don't blame parents all the time.
no, because
I can use me as an example. I came up with mother and father.
right, kids make their own choices.
I made my own decision once my mom passed away and I was in high school. So I started following different paths. That's why I don't always blame the parent. Because you get to a certain point, you know right from wrong. You choose to go over here, or go over here, or go down here. And I just want to know, where are the tools at?
They out there. I mean, there's definitely a variety of programs out there.
It's programs that's being established, but nothing is happening.
There's
And
no
the
like
money's being
flagship.
distributed.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. There's no
Money is
real.
being distributed for working, and there's no work to do. Who do we talk to about that?
I mean, we gotta all sit down and get, like I said, we gotta get everybody on the same page because there's no one person that can just go by themselves and get that money for a program or for the city. Everybody gonna have to be on board and say, this is what we wanna do. Let's just make it happen and get all the people in place that are gonna run these programs, recruit the kids. But it's like everybody's so much in competition with each other that it's like keep away. And then once they do a little program, they only put their people in it. And that doesn't really do anybody any good, to be honest with you, in my opinion.
So what do you see far as the future of Atlantic City?
Did somebody tell you not to ask me that?
Yeah, right.
I'm
messing
over
with you.
here like itching this. I mean, like what is your perception on getting or trying to get or have everybody on the same path? What is your goal?
I think my goal going into it is a lot different than what it is now.
Right.
Like this year didn't go nowhere near how I thought it was gonna go.
Right.
Like I thought we was gonna come in all on the same page, get the ball rolling, have momentum, and
That was the perception at the time of the election.
right.
All right.
And then it just went left.
Right.
I mean, it was gradual. It wasn't just overnight.
Right.
But I started seeing how people was moving, the
Right.
things they was doing, and I didn't want to be a part of it.
Right.
Because I'm not in it for all the stuff that other people are in it for.
Right.
And if people aren't on the same page as me, I'm okay with standing by myself and trying to do it. It probably I won't be successful in getting everything done, but I will get some things done. Because people will start seeing what's going on and want to be a part of it. But the future of Atlantic City, to be honest, like I said, until people come together, you're going to always see infighting, different factions going after each other. When in reality, we should be running this whole county.
Yeah.
There's so much power concentrated in Atlantic City, so much money made here. If we just got our act together, we could have our own senator, our own assembly people. We could be running this whole district, but we always like to fight each other. I don't understand it, to be honest with you. But
Right.
So does the state, the authority that they have, has anything to do with the infighting? Is it like a group of people that don't want the state here, and then it's a group of people that's working with the state? Is that why it's a lot
to
of
be
division?
honest, I don't see anybody really fighting the state no more.
Wow.
I think they just so used to them being in control, and they're just tired of fighting them, and they're already here. Then now you see everybody calling it a partnership. Oh, it's not a takeover. We working with them. Well, we all know they get final say.
Right.
We all know it may take you a year to get something approved, but you're making it seem like you're working hand in hand with them. But really, it's them overseeing everything you're doing. And you have to think about why the state's even here in the first place. We were bad with our money. And we overspent, and casinos sued us on their taxes. We couldn't pay them back. So we bonded all that money and put ourselves hundreds of millions in debt.
Was that the situation with the Bagada?
All of it. So once Bagada won their case, everybody followed suit. And that put us hundreds of millions in debt. And we had a decision. Do we bond it and pay them off over time? Or do we go bankrupt? Either way, the state was coming in. So the state came
So I
in.
guess they gonna be there a little longer now.
They just renewed the MISRA, which is the Stabilization Recovery Act agreement. And now they have another 4 years of control of Atlantic City.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. They're trying to say it's a partnership now. Oh,
So
it's a
what is
partnership.
this vote yes, vote no there?
So vote yes. So basically there's a referendum question. So there was a group of local folks that went out and got enough signatures for this to be on the ballot, and they want to change it from being, you know how we vote every June and then we vote in November.
Yeah.
Whoever wins June, they go in November versus Republicans.
Yeah.
It would just be one election in May. So it'd be no more June and no more November.
So what's the issue?
The issue is this. Let's say you wanted to run for office right now as a Democrat. You would pretty much have to know who the county chairman of the Democratic Party is,
Right,
because he gets say of who gets on that line, that Democratic line.
right.
So once you're on that line, think about it. If the governor's running that year, he want to win Atlantic City too. So he gonna pump money into it. and you're at the bottom of that line with him, you're getting benefit of all that money he's pumping into it. All his flyers, his resources, his commercials. When he comes to the city, he got you with him in pictures and things like that because y'all all on the same team. So you taking advantage of all that money and marketing that you didn't lift a finger for, but because that guy above you wants to win, now
So who gets that money?
they put it into campaign. They'll buy ads, send out mailers.
Oh, okay.
They get certain campaign managers money to hire people on the street to pass out literature and things like that. All that stuff costs money.
So if you vote
So if you vote yes, in Atlantic City there'd be no more Democrats and Republicans when it comes to elections. So there'd be no more party lines. So if you want to run, you don't need nobody's blessing to be on nobody's line. You run as yourself,
Okay.
and you get to promote yourself. You got to go reach the people. Right now, it's about reaching that party chairman. Because once you get that line, you 90% gonna win.
Right.
So you ain't worried about what the people think. You can be the most controversial person ever. You got that line, you pretty much gonna win.
Okay.
So that's removed, and remind you, neither the Republican chairman or the Democratic chairman live in Atlantic City. They both live in Galloway. And the Democratic guy is some 30-year-old kid who Jim Whalen put in place years ago.
How do they allow that there?
Because we don't never say nothing. Yeah. Everybody's scared.
Well,
this is how it is.
Down.
Nah, just such and such is in control. They just jealous. Nah, I just want to see it even. Because I've been on both sides. The first time I ran, didn't have the line, and I still won at the polls. Right. Had I known a little more, I would have, advocated for more absentee work. But I also ran on the line.
Right.
So I didn't like it both times. I'm like, this system is flawed, and it discourages good people from wanting to run. Because then all you gotta do, I don't want to curse, but you gotta be in the good graces of that mayor because you want to be on his ticket, and you or her, you want to be on their ticket because then they have they're gonna have their 3 candidates, right? Or they're gonna have their ward people that they endorse during the ward season. But if you could just remove all of that, and now it's fair for anyone to run, who wouldn't want that?
Right.
Then you got to be accountable to the people, not to that party chairman that don't even live here. That's representing shadow interests from Camden and North Jersey, and they telling him what to do, and he's telling us what to do. Nah, let's get rid of all that. Have our one election that's just about Atlantic City in May.
Right.
And if you want to run, you run. It's up to you to go out there and hustle and meet the people and get them to vote for you.
So if that took place, let's just say that happened, and you could run as an independent candidate, would that eliminate the state, or that deal would stay in place?
They would still be in place, but we would have, I believe we would have better people run that would be willing to speak up against them.
Okay.
Because they won't have all these ties to this party,
right,
and the governor's a Democrat, and I don't want to piss him off. You be like, nah, I ran on my own. I didn't run, your money didn't help me win.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's like a snowball. You start getting people that speak up, and then you might start seeing some change because they don't owe nobody nothing.
So there's no way to get the state out.
We gotta wait until they
4 years.
We gotta wait.
Said they just signed.
They just re-signed it, and they rushed it through. They redid the pilot bill and all that.
So
they just pushed it all.
This time that they redid everything, nobody couldn't stand it and say we don't agree with it.
Did you hear anything?
Nah.
You see any buses go to Trenton this time around? And nah, because his thing was, I did all that. I'm the only one that fought last time because he does everything. The mayor, he's like, I'm the only one that fought it. No one showed up. Why would I fight this time? It's a partnership now, so I'm gonna just work with him.
Damn.
So that leaves us under the state's thumb, no matter how this election comes out.
You know what the crazy thing is? We can vote on something on council, and we vote to move it or to reject it. It still has to get approved by the state.
That's medical, right?
So the state can override us and say, nah, we actually agree with the other side. Council, we're gonna override that. So we can vote on something, but it won't even matter because the state gets final say, even us. So our budget, all that, they oversee all of it.
Wow, that's crazy. Would you ever run
For
mayor?
I wouldn't rule it out, but I'm my first year in council. People ask me that a lot. I'm like, yo, I'm still in my first year. I'm still it's been a impact, a jam-packed year for me at least. But I would have to know that the system is going to be, vote. We got to get this referendum through. And I'm not trying to be on nobody's good graces from Galloway. None of that. I don't like. My thing is sometimes I'll be feeling like I'm too honest for politics, and that's why I won't have longevity in this because.
Can they stop giving these tickets out at the at the county?
I mean, you can't stop. So, like, if someone in Linwood is giving somebody a ticket, we can't stop that.
No, I'm
You know
talking
what I'm
about
saying?
the
Like-
jail.
Oh, you mean when they get out of jail?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's something that we definitely need to talk to the county commissioners about.
yeah.
'Cause they
Not
want to see the jail.
Atlantic City. I think that's a Atlantic County issue.
Yeah, a lot of that's county, but at the same time, we do understand that neighboring towns are still sending people here.
Yeah, they
on a one way.
Wow.
But is it true that we have the only like rescue mission in the state? Like,
Nah, we don't.
we don't.
So I heard. So someone was telling me that I think it's Asbury Park has one, but like they have one just like us. But when you go there, you don't see nobody loitering, nobody walking around.
Wow.
They're like, you need to go talk to some people up there because whatever they're doing is working. They don't have like that issue with them wandering off into the community and being a disturbance. Because now you see them posted up on every block asking for money with signs. I saw somebody new the other day.
That's crazy.
And no one, like the cops can't really. I talked to them like, why can't y'all just pick
That's
them up?
panhandling.
Yeah, and we got an ordinance against aggressive begging. So it's like, but the thing is,
They don't want to do
so you
things.
issue them a ticket, they can't pay it, and then you lock them up. They do their time, come out. You got, like I
Right
said,
back
my
in.
opinion, you got to have somewhere where you really send people to get help.
Yeah.
And when they come here, you immediately not grab them up, but you let them know, you give them a warning. If you come out here again and you just loitering, we gonna take you to this place where you can get help. Because a lot of them refuse help. They refuse like behavioral help, mental help, or like housing help. They just say they good. The
And we
boardwalk is
don't
terrible.
have a veteran facility here, do we?
Well, we do have VOA,
No.
and we have some veteran housing, like actual
Okay.
housing uptown. But
Yeah.
we can't. So that's another thing. We can't be everything to everyone
Right.
and want to be a clean and safe community. Like we can't have transitional housing in our neighborhoods.
But if Vinton, Margate, Longport is clean, why we can't?
They don't have the stuff we have.
Yeah, they don't
Right?
have
Because
casinos.
they don't
have-
having it.
And
They
they
don't
also
have the
don't-
boardwalk
public
like we
housing.
have.
Yeah, they got a bulwark down there.
But it's
What's
not
on
the
their
same.
boardwalk?
Nothing's on their boardwalk.
Nothing's on their boardwalk like ours.
They have no stores.
Right, they got houses and
It's all houses. It's all mansions.
Yeah. All right, I want to ask you another question. Who? I'm trying to think how I'm gonna put this together. All right, you know how the people of Atlantic City are inspectors, huh? You know how inspectors go into businesses and stuff like that to see if everything's up to par, up to code and all that? Why they don't go on the mission?
To inspect the mission?
Yeah,
They probably do.
I mean, are you hearing that they don't?
it's off the hook in there.
I mean, when you say off the hook,
It's dirty. They don't feed them people right. Everybody that brings clothes to them, they put it in this thing behind, and they send all this stuff out to different facilities to sell and all that. They don't give the people in there the clothes and stuff like that people donate. I've heard this thousands of times.
so I never heard of that. But at the same time, I mean, do we want our? I mean, I'm not saying they should be living rough, but we shouldn't be a Marriott. You know what I'm
No,
saying? Like, we don't want
no.
people lined up.
I'm looking at it far as a
Come to
place
the mission,
for.
Yeah, like,
I'm looking at it like a place for different resources. All right, I'm homeless. I need to figure out.
Now, it's a lot available there, man. Believe it or not. It's a lot
Yeah,
available.
but I heard a lot of people complain about it.
to be
Yeah,
honest,
Walden's
though, people
was
complain
missing
about a lot of
stolen.
places, though. Like, I mean, I haven't heard any complaints about it personally.
Yeah, I've heard it, but who?
I'm not saying it
can
don't exist.
I know somebody that was in there, you know what I mean? A friend of mine.
I mean, everybody is
He's
not
great
going
now,
through.
you know what I mean? He did what he was supposed to
Right.
do. While he was in
Everybody's
there.
not going
He's
through
good now.
a dilemma in there. But I've heard people that go through, the staff is not talking to them right because of this conditioning, and it's like they got to dumb all the way down because they're messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And these staff members, it's like they look at them like, all right, I'm better than you. Who can the community go to address these issues if this is the only shelter here in Atlantic City? Because Salvation Army is no longer there. They don't do the women's shelter thing no more. They send them up to Asbury Park.
Don't they have that women's shelter on St. Nick's?
Nah, everything's moved up the road now.
Oh, wow.
Because I do a toy drive every year, and I used to take them to the women's shelter because you have women that was abused and all that, and they got their kids in there. Went there last Christmas, they said they went up the road. So who can we talk to about addressing these issues in the shelter?
Well, I don't know if we can address staffing issues. That's more like a management internal thing. We can't tell somebody how to talk to. We can't be there 24/7 making sure that they. You get what I'm saying? That they're talking to the
But
residents
it's called a
correctly.
Lansing
But
rescue mission.
But it's true. So that's something that needs to be brought to the council's attention.
Isn't that like a private?
Yeah, that's not. It's not owned by the city. It's a non. I think it's a non-profit.
Yeah,
They take donations. Yeah, so.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure they might get grants and things of that nature, but that's not like we don't own and
I always
operate.
thought the city owned it because it says Atlantic City.
I mean, we
Rescue.
got Atlantic City Palace too. I mean, we don't own that.
Yeah, it's
That's
just, it's just where it is.
That's
That's
just
all.
what they call it, right?
Yeah. Oh man. I ask you that. What are you doing like right now, as far as Atlantic City? What are you actually doing as being a council at large? What if people don't know what a council at large is? I thought you was a council member. I didn't know it was council at large. I thought both mean the same thing.
Yes.
They don't.
No. So it's just like we have 6 wards. Each ward has a council member, and then you have 3 at large, which are responsible for everywhere they need to be. So it could be anything citywide.
Okay.
There's no like designated area that you're responsible for.
Oh, okay.
So in theory, we're supposed to really be helping out the ward
Right.
people. So like for instance, the last meeting I saw that the 3rd ward councilman was getting killed on some things, and I'm like, it's not fair to just talk about him. You got 3 at large people that you can be complaining to as well.
Right.
That should ideally be trying to help you.
Okay.
So like what do we do? So like we get a lot of phone calls from constituents every day about things going on in the city they want to help get addressed. And it's our job to work with City Hall to get those things done for them. So like we are kind of like the liaison between the issues that are going on in the community and helping to get it done on a business end through the business administrator at the City Hall. And he works, now the way they got it set up, we work through him, then he works with different departments to get it done. And then we have stuff that we vote on. So we create resolutions and ordinances are local laws that are established, that are enforceable by police once they're moved into law. So and then we do our own stuff in the community that we want to do based on who you are and your interests and what you want to see happen.
Yeah, I just stopped going up there because they kept turning the mic off for me. And I feel like if you know what you're talking about, you get shut down. So I stopped going. This was a little while before you came in. I just got tired of it. Because if you get hype about it and you not cursing and nothing like that, they'll turn your mic off.
Well, they tell you your
start
time is
cussing.
up. Yeah, they tell you your time is up.
Yeah, and you just started. Oh, man.
So, excuse me. What is your end game for Atlantic City, man? Excuse me.
I want to see systems in place where, like I was speaking about earlier, where there's real systems and pathways for Atlantic City people to achieve success and come out of poverty. Like the biggest issue in our city is poverty. A lot of things stem from that.
Yeah.
You know, bad school system, bad living conditions, crime, just various different things. It's my belief that if we give or afford people, because you can't force anyone to do anything, but if we just let people know it's possible and show them an actual way to achieve a better life, that's like my biggest thing. Because that just will help everyone. Like it makes no sense to have certain people or just a certain amount of few people do good while everybody else is suffering. You're still gonna have a bad city.
Right.
It only helps everyone if everyone's doing well.
Right.
Like I lived in Brooklyn for 8 years and it's vibrant. People, everybody happy because there's so much opportunity. They know that this don't work out, okay, I can do this.
Right.
And there's a way to do it.
Right.
In DC it's the same way. Here it's like, oh, if I don't get that city hall job, then I gotta go work in a casino if I get lucky.
You know, and who circle you in.
Right, it's so many small town politics, but in actuality, leadership needs to be creating these opportunities, working with CREDA, working with the state, working with private companies, and making sure, again, that our people know about them and are taking advantage of them so that they can eventually be better, have a better life for themselves.
Right.
Because again, that only helps everyone, in my opinion.
Yep.
I could care less about what I got going on, to be honest. Like, council don't really pay that much. You know, I'm not cutting no side deals for nothing. I really just want to see other people do well around me because that only makes Atlantic City better, in my opinion. And we gotta clean up Atlantic Avenue. Like we at some point, like when I was growing up, and I'm sure when y'all was growing up, it wasn't like this.
Nah.
No. Heck no.
So like, but think about
better
it.
spot to be at.
At what
Walk
point-
from, what's that, Indiana all the way to South Carolina Avenue. Because everybody stopped at the record shop.
Maurice.
This is before O&A's.
Mhm.
It's like we did what we did. The old heads came in, so we left, went and got clothes and all that, dressed, and we go out. But that shit looks crazy up there, man.
That reminds me of like Camden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's looking
And
like.
it's like I talked to a few of the officers, like, how could we stop it? He said, listen, I'm gonna keep it real with you. We lock them up. The next day or next 2 days, when they let them out the county, they
That's
go
an
right
issue.
back.
Yes, the bail reform is a big issue. And
Yeah.
that's legislation. That's state legislation.
Yeah, and it's like I was saying earlier, like they don't understand the dynamic of it. It's like we're gonna keep pushing you out there because you're gonna build yourself up to at least about 10 years. Soon as they get tired, you keep coming in and out. You got 5 cases on you now. They gotta sentence you accordingly now. And the first, I was working in City Hall. Not City Hall, the Public Safety Building. 7th floor. All the surveillance. I'm like, yo, they watching y'all. They can see what's in your pocket when you put it in your pocket. Man, I ain't trying to hear all that. I'm like, okay. The
They had it in
same
the
guys
newspaper.
got locked up that same day.
They had it in the
Yeah,
newspaper.
they got surveillance. Yeah.
It was in the
The
paper.
same guy, he was locked up that night. I said, yo, I just told you. Let him right back out, caught another case. So, I mean, honestly, I think I'm to the point now, it's like, I don't even care no more because I feel like you. I don't want to be the only one saying something or doing something because me just doing it by myself ain't not going to happen. But if we go up there policing ourselves, like policing the community, and we do something to them, we can go to jail. We can get charged.
And at that point, is it worth it?
But if you're looking down at us from the surveillance, you see me out there trying to tell these kids, go on,
But
do
do you
this.
want to deal with everything that comes with that interaction? Now you
I
got
think
an
that's the only thing
altercation,
that's stopping me because,
you got family.
right, and I don't want to have no gun. Even though I feel it might be good, legally it's not. And now I'm trying to police our own people. Now I'm jammed up for trying to do something good. And you can't do something good with a bad deed. That's what I'm saying. I'm almost to the point like, yo, I'm gonna give up, man.
Well, I'm not ready to give up.
No, I'm
I
not
get what you're
saying you, but
I get where you're
I
coming
feel
from.
like that sometimes, and I always say it, but I always help them after that.
See, what you gotta do, man, you see one up there that you know personally.
They be the ones with the slickest mouth, the ones you know. And they call you, OG, man, this ain't your time no more. I said, you know what, you right. You right. Please don't call me when you go to jail. Don't call me. And the sad thing is, it's like the people I grew up with, it's their kids. And they look just like them. And that be, man, that's disturbing, man. But, I don't know, man. I mean, eventually we'll get it together, or everybody get it together eventually, so, I don't know, man. You got anything else?
How about them cowboys?
Oh, man. No, you messed the whole, oh, man. You must be a cowboy fan.
Big time.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll see y'all in December then.
Y'all ain't going nowhere. We all know this how this going for y'all.
We're going to be 10-0 by the time we lose.
Maybe. Maybe not.
You have anything to say before we wrap it up? Whatever it is, let the people know how you really feel.
No, I mean, I'm really here just to answer the questions. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm always letting people know how I feel. I really just wanted to make sure that I addressed anything that y'all wanted to talk about, to be honest with you. I'm not here to grandstand or give no campaign speech, so I just appreciate y'all having me on.
Right. And honestly, I really appreciate you because I first met you when you was doing the thing with Marty. And, like, I'll call you, you'll answer, you'll call back. A lot of people don't do that. And I don't know if you know my history, but I mean, I'm way better than it now, so I just appreciate when I call you, you answer, if I text you. Because a lot of people get to these certain positions and just forget about everybody behind them. They want to be like this. And I don't want to feel like I'm like this. I'm like, damn, I'm reaching out for them. I want to ask them this and that. But I always get, don't call you. Man, I'm going to call you, man. I ain't trying. Nah, man. It's just like, everybody didn't even want me to do this. And I'm keeping it real with you. This is the end of it. My thing is this. I'm giving this a platform for everybody. I don't care what you into. We did Ralph Talley. We did Zez. We did brother Jay De Niro from Bueller. I want to be able to get everybody, not just here. So whatever issues people have, this is not the platform for the issues. This is the platform to get you out there and whoever else sits in that seat. We're not going to sit here and try to down you. Whatever you do or whatever you've done, that's your problem and that's your business. But this is a platform to get out whatever you want the people to know about you. That's my whole thing. And I really appreciate you for coming. And I'm going to tell you the truth, I didn't think you was going to come.
Right. I don't get that part. Because I do, to be honest, anybody that asks me to come on the show platform, I always say yes.
I'm going to tell you why. Because you're not feeling a certain person that I supported.
But we both supported that person.
It's the after effect.
I mean, I live it every day, though. I'm so used
That's
to
what I
it.
said. I didn't even
So
think
this how I see it. No matter whose side you on or who you, there's always gonna be somebody that don't like you.
Right.
I went through that when I supported him. I spent half my time defending him in the community everywhere I went.
Right.
I had to convert people to liking him.
Right.
And then when we had a falling out, then it's like all his people don't like me, which is cool because I feel like I have a clear conscience. I'm
Right.
doing what I think is right. It's not about what everybody else thinks to me.
Right. Yeah, I just had to get that out, man.
I mean,
I really didn't think you was gonna. Like when I asked you, I did not think you was gonna agree to it. I'm keeping it real with you. And I talked to Umar. He's like, yeah, let's get him. He's somebody that's going to talk. Because I don't really know too much. I've seen you, I've heard about you. And that was one of my main reasons for getting you, because a lot of people do mess with you like that, as far as liking what you're doing. And I want to learn to like what you're doing too. I mean, I already do, but I want to like go from here on out. And whatever you got going on, I'm with you. 100%.
No doubt.
No, I appreciate y'all.
Mm-hmm.
You don't gotta feel like you gotta pick a side. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
You
is
sure
right,
you don't
wrong
want
is
to say
wrong,
nothing
man.
else? Do you want people to follow you or?
Nah, I mean, they can find me on Facebook. It's my name, just Bruce Weeks. I don't really do Instagram like that.
Yeah.
I got one, but I don't really use it.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. I mean,
Okay. And I spelled your name wrong.
oh yeah, I hit you back. I mean, a lot of people do that though.
Yeah.
They spell it just a regular. Weeks.
Because it doesn't look like ES.
Yeah, it's not pronounced.
It don't sound like
Yeah,
ES.
yeah, yeah. So that's it. I thought y'all
Yeah.
might have some tough questions. That way they was making it
You
seem.
got anything else?
Nah, man, we pretty much covered everything, man. You know what I mean?
Alright. See y'all next time.